On June 15, 20 Indian soldiers were passed away by a Chinese soldier armed with a nailed iron rod in a Ladakh Galwan Valley, which was located on more than 4,000 meters above sea level. The incident has caused the criticism of the Chinese Communist Party around the world. 12 of the 20 dead Indian soldiers were members of the elite Bahar Regiment of the Indian Army. This army was part of a long-standing tradition that began with the British Indian Army, and they also joined the UN peacekeeping force in Congo, Somalia. Later, the funeral of 20 Indian soldiers was held in India. Indian Prime Minister Modi has said that we will punish them and will not make the sacrifices of Indian troops in vain. Indian citizens have honored the 20 Indian soldiers as patriots who sacrificed themselves for their country. However, Chinese authorities have been criticized by the Chinese for hiding the exact number and name of deaths and not even opening funerals. According to ANI News of India, 43 Chinese soldiers were passed away. But Hu Xijin, editor of the Global Times, said that it is Beijing's good faith not to disclose the death toll to avoid the emotional agitation between the two countries, and even Chinese netizens were upset. We don't even know the names of the soldiers who died for our country. How can it be a good faith? Later, India and China say that they have calmed the situation through high-level military talks, but contrary to the announcement, the two countries are still increasing deployment of troops in their border areas.
There is clarity on the extent of the Chinese army incursion in the Galwan region of Ladakh.
In fact, there were the arguments made among Chinese military experts in the event of an emergency in case of a collision with the Indian military. Our local soldiers should be given the authority to respond immediately without any permission. Also, the Chinese military should be armed with powerful non-lethal weapons such as laser guns, tear gas, and simulation bombs. China, the fourth largest nuclear-armed country, and India, the seventh largest, have banned gun and explosive materials within a 2-kilometer radius of the border to avoid extreme clashes. Under these special circumstances, China and India are again preparing for another war, but not with the guns. After the border incident, Chinese troops immediately established 5 new militias in the neighboring Tibetan city of Lhasa and gave flags to the troops. But among the 5 militias, there was a unit specially named as a Xiao unit. Xiao is the name of the dog, but this looks like a lion. And this unit was uniquely composed of martial arts fighters. This unit was made up of members of the martial arts fighters who performed well many times in and out of China. Since weapons are not available and only bodies are available, martial arts fighters are most advantageous in unarmed combat. And these martial arts fighters will be able to overpower Indian troops in an event of the scuffle. In the Xiao unit, it turns out that there was Ryu Kui, a first-class Chinese fighter, and Sumo Darji, an active UFC Tibetan player. The unit was also made up of players of Chinese famous martial arts club, the Embo Club. However, this club has caused controversy over abuse by forcibly nurturing orphans who lost their parents or children from poor areas in China as fighters. These Chinese martial arts fighters have been trained to fight since they were young, and they have been sent to the border area with India. But this is not the first time Chinese authorities have used the martial arts fighters. On July 21 of last year, unidentified men in white clothes attacked a citizen on the Hong Kong subway, and it was confirmed that there were even professional boxers. Former Reuters reporter Andrew Malser also said on social media that a 34-year-old Thai boxer RT was one of the members who took white clothes that assaulted Hong Kong citizens. Also, India took action in response to China's behaviors. Indian media say that China is deploying a martial arts-savvy militias who can resist high climate. Also, they say that we would never forget the China Army's attack on the Indian Army with a nail iron rod. And also, this article was announced by Indian press on last 1st. The Indian government has decided to send the Gatak commandos against the Chinese martial arts fighters to the disputed region of Ladakh. Gatak means a killer, and these Gatak commandos is a special unit consisting of the best soldiers in the Indian Army. They are called as human weapons, and also they are known to be made up of 20 people. It is also known that their training includes running 40 km with a 35 kg supply bag without break. And before a formal Indian Army general emphasized the strength of the Gatak commandos in Indian media. Oriental martial arts such as Kung Fu or Karate is a way of competing against one opponent in a predictable environment, but our unit is trained to take down several people at once. Of course, along with this, India and China continue to send troops to their borders. Since the last conflict, China has sent constant deployment of military supplies, trucks, bulldozers, and excavators to the border area. According to a private satellite observer at the British Institute for Strategic and International Studies, the number of Chinese troops in that region has increased 2 to 3 times more than usual. The number of troops, which used to be 500 or 600, but it has increased to 1,000 to 1,500. Behind of the collision area, some of the troops believed to be a 6th Mechanized Division of the Chinese Army were also deployed. As China sent their troops along the border, India said that we would deploy weapons and respond strongly in case of another conflict. At the same time, India is rushing to introduce the Russian Advanced Air Defense Missile System, the S-400 missile system. India was planning to introduce the $4.2 billion military system, S-400 missile system, by the end of the next year. But India is trying to move ahead with plans due to border disputes with China. India's foreign ministry said that China has already deployed a large number of troops and weapons, and for India, it's right to take countermeasures. At the same time, there has been a recent patriotic incident in India. On the 19th, 10 boys from Aligarh of India were approaching the border and they were stopped by police. These boys, known to be between the age of 7 and 10, told the police to step aside. They say that we were so angry after watching the news, we want to revenge on the Communist Party of China. Later, the police officer said that he was deeply moved by the children's determined eyes, but the police officer sued the children go back to their home and said, "You don't have to fight as long as we are here. Focus on your studies at home." At the same time, Indian media are paying attention to China's military exercises in Tibet. They say that China's night training in the highlands of Tibet during the fighting in a border area is proof that China is preparing for further propagation against India. India's Gravitas News strongly criticized China for tearing down religious flags all over Tibet. Citing media RFA, they reported that the removal of the colorful flags, which were symbols of Tibetan Buddhism in Tibet and the Alpine regions of Qinghai, was a cultural destruction crime. Also, they worried about after border conflict between China and India, Tibet is likely to become another part of the Indian-Chinese border dispute. India also supports the U.S. House of Representatives decision, because they have introduced a bill that recognized Tibet as an independent state. The name of the bill was the Tibetan Policy and Support Act, and this bill was passed on last January 28. Also, Gravitas News supported the Indian government position, saying Tibet is a very close country to India, and Tibet was forcibly merged by Mao Zedong of China. Also, the Xinjiang Uyghur region, like Tibet, was forcibly merged by Communist Party of China. Meanwhile, India is currently undergoing a major economic retaliation against China. The Indian government has asked their telecommunication companies not to use equipment from Chinese companies such as Huawei, and plans to impose the tariff on solar energy equipment from China. The anti-China sentiment in India has become even worse. In India, the Hotel Association in the capital Delhi even imposed a ban on Chinese accommodation in hotel. On the 25th, the announcement was made by the Indian Hotel Association, which is a member of 3-star and 4-star hotels in the metropolitan area centered on Delhi. The Indian Hotel Association prohibits Chinese accommodation at affiliated hotels. This includes 75,000 rooms around Delhi. In addition, the Indian Hotels Association even ordered the franchise hotel to ban the use of Chinese products. As the situation got worse, Chinese companies, including Huawei, began to worry about Indian market. And later, it turns out that Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi, which has the manufacturing plant in India, ordered the Xiaomi stores in major cities to cover the company logo with the banner "Made in India." Because whenever Indians see the sign of Xiaomi, and Indian citizens have been continuing to damage and protest in front of the stores. In fact, China's Huawei took first place in India's smartphone market in April and May with an affordable price. However, due to the anti-China sentiment, it is expected to hand over the top spot to Samsung, which was the second largest in the smartphone market share in India. After the border clash, it became easy to see anti-China behaviors, including burning the five-star red flag and Xi Jinping's picture, along with a nationwide boycott of Chinese products. Small and medium-sized Indian companies that handle Chinese products also responded actively, saying they are in favor of a government decision in terms of patriotism, although economic damages are occurring for them right now. On June 29, India banned 59 Chinese applications, including TikTok, Weibo, and WeChat, in a counterattack against China. They have removed all Chinese software apps in India. India is the world's largest market for China's TikTok with more than 120 million users. TikTok is a must-have app for Indian celebrities, especially for which public exposure is essential. However, Indian celebrities do not care about the ban. They support the Indian government's decision, saying that it has taken natural steps to protect India's pride in the face of the border dispute. China has already come under criticism from around the world for covering up the Wuhan pneumonia, the South China Sea problem, and Hong Kong's security law. But now China has made most of the world as enemy, even India, which accounts for about 20% of the world population. Meanwhile, on the 19th, a video was posted on the Milk Tea Union community, a solidarity of young people in Thailand, Taiwan, and Hong Kong against the Chinese netizens. They added explanations along with the videos of countless people rushing down the mountain. It's not a flood, it's an angry Indians who runs to the border with China about unauthorized Chinese architecture. The world's pressure on China's irresponsible words and actions is expected to intensify, and a new professional department will be established to do RFOIP initiate led by the United States and Japan and involving India and Australia. This organization is designed to counter and One Belt and One Plan led by China. This organization has since decided to pursue defense cooperation with not only Australia, India, but also some other Southeast Asian countries. Be safe.